The Royal Norfolk Show, a customary showcase event for Norwich City staff, players and officials alike. By now, thoughts are turning to a new season ahead, of course. But our first job here is to reflect on the previous campaign, courtesy of Player of the Season, Adam Drury.
Hello, I'm Adam Drury, and I'd like to welcome you to Norwich City's 2002-2003 season review. After a really great start to this little bit, we'll take our full way through. Hopefully this season we'll take our form all the way through. I've really enjoyed my season. I was really pleased to score my first goal for the club. But the highlight for me has got to be winning the Barry Butler Trophy. And I'd like to say a big thank you to all the fans that have voted for me. So now it's time to sit back and rewind to the first game of the season on a sunny day against Grimsby Town at Carrow Road.
Thanks, Adam. Here we go then. Your commentator is Dan O'Hagan.
It's only the second week of August. The sun is shining, and that means only one thing. The football season is here. Norwich were a penalty kick or two from having an extra week to wait, but it was Birmingham and not they who took the spoils in Cardiff. Now McVeigh. McVeigh goes for goal. Paul McVeigh, and Danny Coyne may have lost the ball in the sun. Well, McVeigh struck from distance, and Danny Coyne was the sun in his eyes perhaps, because he didn't take it cleanly. Chettle, good touch there from Poughton, gets the return ball from Caldycott as well. Now brings Terry Cook into the play. Cook's ball in. There's Robinson with a header. And Paul Robinson with the clearest sight of goal for Grimsby so far. Terry Cook's ball in. And Paul Robinson on loan from Wimbledon here with a header. Not a million miles away from Robert Green's far corner. McVeigh on for Easton. Roberts with him. McVeigh arriving now as well. Rivers on the near side is calling out for the ball. Here's Mulrine. He strikes one. Phil Mulrine! Oh, stunning goal from Phil Mulrine! What a way to open the season's account! A thunderous goal from Phil Mulrine. Danny Coyne never saw it in the Grimsby goal. A goal of the highest order from Phil Mulrine. And Norwich are off and running for the new season. Easton here fed him. And what, 25 yards plus Phil Mulrine. Picked that one out, Danny Coyne. Great goal for Norwich. They have the lead. Now Holt for Easton, who's in lots of space here, has Drury with him. Easton's cross might reach Roberts, in turn for McVeigh, or for Rivers. It's McVeigh again, it's Paul McVeigh, it's Norwich 2, Grimsby 0. It's been a flying first half start for Norwich to their season. Paul McVeigh doubles their money. The ball in here took a deflection. Roberts, then McVeigh and Rivers. The ball came back to McVeigh. He picked his spot, and Norwich are 2 goals clear of Grimsby just before half-time. Roberts for Rivers. McVeigh in the centre. Rivers looks to go outside Gallimore, but Gallimore was quick enough. Nedergaard. Mulrine's made the run here. Groves has missed it. It's Phil Mulrine. It's 3-0. It's Mulrine's second, and Norwich are home and dry on the opening day. A mistake by the player-manager Paul Groves has gifted Phil Mulrine his second, Norwich's third. They are 3 goals clear and are cruising on the opening Saturday. The ball in here. Mulrine made the run. Groves should have cleared it, didn't. A simple task then to go around Danny Coyne and place the ball into the unguarded net. Norwich 3 now, Grimsby Town 0. It's another one for Phil Mulrine. Back with Danny Coyne. And Coyne first time away. Drury. Battling with Cook and on by Easton towards Paul McVeigh. Holt is strong and muscles the ball off Caldycott. McVeigh's there now to profit. Return ball from Roberts, it's Paul McVeigh, opportunities here, Paul McVeigh! Norwich City 4, Grimsby Town 0. It's an opening day rout for Norwich City. They lost 4-0 on the first day last season. This time around, it is they who are 4 goals clear. 2 for Mulrine, 2 for that man McVeigh now, and these fans are very happy indeed. The return ball to Paul McVeigh. He took his time, the keeper came, and McVeigh found the corner. Norwich have found their gear.
So all well and good at Carrow Road, an emphatic start to the season. The Canaries' travels began with a visit to Rotherham, goalless until the 68th minute. Darren Byfield making room on the right, Darren Kenton failing to clear, Alan Lee putting Rotherham ahead. Soon after that, the home side thought they should have been awarded a penalty. Byfield again the danger man, sprinting by Steen Nedergaard before going on to tangle with Kenton in the box. Nothing given, and having rode their luck, Norwich continued to battle for an away point. And with just 3 minutes left, the pressure finally paid off. Danish striker David Nielsen, the man on hand to seal a draw, following up from Ewan Roberts' nod down. Nielsen equalising, and nice celebrations to match. So 1-1 in midweek, and Norwich stayed on the road for their next game against the somewhat unusual backdrop of Brighton's Withdean Stadium. It was goalless until just before the hour when things suddenly turned Norwich's way. Michael Kuipers with a brilliant stop from Ewan Roberts, and Paul McVeigh reacting quickest to nod the ball home. 1-0 to City. And a little more than 10 minutes later, Norwich had effectively wrapped up the points. A neat build-up, Phil Mulrine's cross finding Clint Easton on the far post, and his sweet shot giving keepers Kuipers no chance. A neat finish for Easton, only his second league goal in Norwich colours. Next up, back to Carrow Road and Dan O'Hagan.
First place second in Division 1, no score as yet. 5 minutes to half-time, ball played in towards Ewan Roberts. There's Paul McVeigh, and Paul McVeigh's 4th goal in 4 games breaks the deadlock. It's Norwich City 1, Gillingham 0. And the home form that was so special, so important last season looks to continue as Paul McVeigh breaks the deadlock for Norwich City. Helped on by Roberts, McVeigh in space on the 6-yard line through the legs of Jason Brown. Norwich City 1, Gillingham 0. Nosworthy tees up Hessenthaler. Too high for Sidibe, the header comes in, Green with a diving save, denies Mark Saunders. Robert Green goes full length to keep Saunders' header out. Nosworthy teed up the player manager Hessenthaler, his ball in, and there was Mark Saunders, and Green with the fingertip save, and meanwhile it's deflected over again. And Gillingham have begun this second half with real intent. As Smith looks for Shaw. Chance here, Paul Shaw shot takes a deflection off the post again for the second time in the second half. Paul Shaw has seen the ball hit the post, back in it goes, and Kenton this time gets it away for Norwich. Roberts in there, so too Rivers. Nedergaard around the penalty spot. Good header from Saunders. Gets distance. But here's Holt now. Plays in Easton. Lots of yellow shirts in the penalty area. Easton curls one himself and finds the roof of the net. Robert Green with the clearance. Referee has checked his watch. We are over the 2 minutes now. Here's Alex Notman. Can he put some gloss on the finish? Brown with a stunning save. He changed direction in mid-air, Jason Brown, but there is the final whistle. Norwich have maintained their unbeaten start to the season.
Newly promoted Stoke City were the Canaries' next opponents at the Britannia Stadium. No goals at half-time, but the deadlock was broken early in the second half. It was a good goal too. Fullback Adam Drury taking full advantage of Paul McVeigh's neat work to score his first league goal for the club. Drury clearly thrilled to get his name on the score sheet. His teammates very happy to mark the occasion too. Adam Drury further underlining his growing reputation as an outstanding left-back and a Norwich City fan's favourite.
Goal for Norwich City, scored by the number 3, Adam Drury.
City's fine start to the season continuing, and for a while it looked like this would be another valuable 3-point haul away from home. But it wasn't to be, as Stoke hit back with a well-worked goal of their own. Chris Common's excellent 1-2 with striker Mark Goodfellow setting up the Stoke winger for a sweetly struck shot. 1-1, honours even at the Britannia. Back once more to Carrow Road for more fun and games against Watford.
Here's Adam Drury. Mulrine helps it on. His father was Micah Hyde. Oh, and a mistake there by Neil Cox. It's Paul McVeigh with the strike deflected, and Paul McVeigh will claim it for his 5th goal of the season. It took an almighty deflection which left out Chamberlain wrong-footed, but Paul McVeigh will claim that as his 5th goal of the season. He is a man in real form, as are his teammates. Norwich City lead Watford by 1-0. There is Paul McVeigh, and he's done really well to get the ball back to Mulrine. Now the yellow shirts have got forward. Holt for Notman, his cross towards Ewan Roberts-Dyche there. Roberts with a chance against his former club, and Roberts has scored his 1st goal of the season in his 200th league game for the club, against the club where he began his career. Ewan Roberts is off the mark for 2002-2003. It's Norwich City 2 now, Watford 0. Roberts is the goal scorer. Mulrine looks for Roberts, away by Marcus Gale. Comes here to Adam Drury. Still lots of yellow shirts are forward. Here's David Nielsen, gets a shove off Gale, does he? Holds him off and finds Roberts, back for Nielsen. Good into play, stunning goal. It won't count, the flag is up against David Nielsen. Instantaneously the flag went up against David Nielsen, and the goal, well taken though it was, will not stand. Kevin Hitchcock there, the former Chelsea goalkeeper, now coaches the goalkeepers at Watford. Here's Gary Holt now, on towards David Nielsen. Away from Robinson, Robinson caught him. Now, was that inside or outside the penalty area as Robinson and Nielsen collide, and a red card is shown to Paul Robinson, I think it was. There's a whole melee of Watford bodies there. I think Robinson is the man who's been sent from the field. Well, Nielsen's got fantastic pace, as we know. I think it's been given as a free kick outside the penalty area. We'll see here Nielsen and Robinson contact outside initially. The fall was inside, and the referee, I think quite rightly, has given the free kick on the edge, and a push there. I think that's what the red card was for, more than the challenge, and Robinson walks. So Norwich with the free kick, they have a man advantage now as well for these remaining 25 minutes of the game. Easton and Mulrine stand over this one. Mulrine strikes one and scores one. The ultimate punishment for the red card. Mulrine scores from the resulting free kick, his 3rd of the season. A special goal from Phil Mulrine. Norwich are 3 goals clear and are cruising. Drury on for Clint Easton. Roberts in the centre. Drury goes on the overlap as well, angled in towards Ewan Roberts with a header. Roberts, it's well saved this time by Chamberlain. Here's Neil Cox for Watford. Any goal now would be mere consolation, you feel. Alan Nielsen on towards Dominic Foley, and Dominic Foley, who's already been booked of course as well, could be in further trouble here. Could this be a 2nd Watford red card this afternoon? Foley, the man who's playing because Danny Webber is injured, ends his afternoon by getting his 2nd yellow card of the game. He walks. Watford are down to 9 men. Fleming works the ball to Adam Drury. And now Paul Heckingbottom. Mulrine. Nielsen looks to turn. David Nielsen, good save from Chamberlain, but the ball loops in off Chamberlain's hands. He looked to push the ball over. He couldn't get the height on the parry, and the ball drops into the unguarded net for Norwich's 4th goal and David Nielsen's 2nd of the season.
So far, so good. Norwich second in the table, 13 goals for, 2 against. But the first game of September would produce something of a surprise. The visitors to Carrow Road, Neil Warnock's Sheffield United.
This is Paddy Kenny with his first touch. He's a goalkeeper with a big reputation. And his clearance drops, and Adam Drury gets it away for Norwich. There's Rob Olathorn, a former Canaries player, of course, back in the early 90s. Gary Holt is rather hassled out of the ball, and here's Michael Brown for Sheffield United, and in the end Darren Kenton has to go in strongly, and Darren Kenton's gone in too strongly. Free kick to Sheffield United. So a free kick in a promising position for the visiting team inside the first minute. Darren Kenton's challenge conceding. There's a 4-man Norwich wall put up by Robert Green, yet to be beaten here this season, of course. Michael Brown could be favourite to strike this, the number 7 for Sheffield United. Tong is there as well. It is Michael Brown through the wall, in the net. A fantastic start for Sheffield United and for Michael Brown. And for the first time this season at home, Robert Green is beaten. And what a goal it was from Michael Brown. A free kick of the highest order for Michael Brown. Top corner, no chance for Robert Green. And Sheffield United have stunned Norwich inside the first minute. Michael Brown, the goal scorer. Well, his first touch this afternoon was to fish the ball out of the net, Robert Green. Well, Delia Smith's team this week have been awarded the Freedom of the City in a ceremony on Thursday evening. And today, of course, they have the chance to go top of Division 1, but they've not made the best start here. 24 there is John Paul McGovern, who's on loan from Celtic. It'll be Rob Kozluk with the long throw for Sheffield United. Brown and Tong to aim for. Onura as well flicks on and forced in for a second goal. Sheffield United have hit Norwich twice inside the first 6 minutes here. I think it was Michael Brown who got the final touch. Michael Tong is celebrating as well. It was a real scramble inside the 6-yard area. The throw came in from Kozluk, and who got the final touch here? Onura's flick, and squeezed in, I think it was, by Michael Tong. Yes, Tong with the final touch, and Sheffield United here off to a flying start. They've scored twice already. Drury's cross for Norwich, meanwhile. Notman's in there, and he was fouling his man.
Nigel Worthington evidently calm and collected on the bench, but it wasn't to last. The Norwich manager banished to the stands late in the first half for sharing his thoughts on proceedings a little over-enthusiastically.
Now here's Tong for Sheffield United, breaking away at pace, and Nora inside of him. But Tong may not need him. Michael Tong's going all the way here, and Kenton comes across. Penalty kick to Sheffield United. And Kenton has been booked already as well. And is there to be a double punishment for Norwich, or will the penalty suffice? Well, the run of Tong caused all manner of problems as he ran at Kenton, took him on, twists and turns, and the challenge in the end invited, and Tong went aground. And Sheffield United have a penalty, and before they take it, will there be a sending off here for Darren Kenton? Referee Phil Dad, I think, has decided that the penalty is sufficient punishment. But is there to be a third goal inside the first 35 minutes for Sheffield United? Carl Asaba with the penalty. Asaba scores, it's 3-0, and Sheffield United are running away with things here. Asaba's third goal of the season, and it's all going horribly wrong for Norwich this afternoon. A cool penalty from Carl Asaba. And Norwich now have a real mountain to climb. Easton. His cross charge down, second chance to get the ball in towards Ewan Roberts. Roberts' header, Kenny comes and grasps it. Five minutes short of half-time, then Norwich with a first half to forget. As Anora and Mackay have collided here. You may see here just what did happen. The two jumped. And Mackay went to ground. And a red card for Ife Anora. The referee clearly felt an elbow was used by the Sheffield United striker in the face of Malky Mackay. And Ife Anora is sent from the field by Phil Daddock. Angry exchanges between Anora and Mackay. And well, they may be 3 goals up, but they are down to 10 men, Sheffield United. A game full of incident in this first half then. On towards Kenton, scored twice against this team last season. Kenton's done well. His cross towards Roberts. And the header in the end was from Sean Murphy, the defender. It's another corner to Norwich. What a dangerous ball played in here by Darren Kenton. And Sean Murphy did well, the captain. Didn't know too much about it though. McVeigh skips away from McCall. Finds Roberts, gets a layoff as well from the captain. It's Paul McVeigh. Notman. Nedergaard's cross, far post. Roberts with a header. Flashes just over and not under the crossbar from the captain's head. Roberts' clearest sight of goal this afternoon. Couldn't get the ball beneath the crossbar. And it's over harmlessly for a goal kick to Sheffield United. One of those days for Norwich. 30 yards from goal. Lots of red and white shirts are back though. Here's Roberts free, far post, Ewan Roberts. It's a super save from Paddy Kenny. That would have been the lifeline, and the captain Roberts knows it. This was a save of real quality from Paddy Kenny. Roberts unmarked at the far post, and Kenny flung himself at the ball and makes a save from the top draw and keeps his clean sheet intact. Notman's corner this time. In by Nedergaard for Nielsen. Is that the lifeline? David Nielsen got the final touch, and Norwich may well have a lifeline here. So 4 minutes. Plenty of time for at least one goal then. McVeigh for Norwich now. Wide for Notman. Cuts inside. In for David Nielsen and Mark Nielsen. Once again, Paddy Kenny flung himself at the ball and pulls off a wonderful save. He's hurt in the process, but what a save from Paddy Kenny for the second time. A pat on the back from Paul McVeigh, and as well he deserves it. Not too much time to go now. Mackay's up there with a header. Malky Mackay, 3-2. We are set up for a grandstand finish here. Malky Mackay's header has reduced the arrears to 1. It's 3-2, and Malky Mackay has given Norwich a real lifeline in this game. A commanding header. We saw so many of those towards the end of last season from Malky Mackay. Now back to full fitness. Has that goal given Norwich a lifeline towards earning a point?
Sadly, no, a little too late for Norwich. Next, time to turn attentions to the Worthington Cup. Your commentator here, Donovan Blake.
Notman now with 2 players to his left-hand side. Roberts allows it to run towards Easton. That's a decent cross, and Nielsen was up there. The contact, not quite what he imagined, but the supporters showing their appreciation. That was a good move by Norwich. It was switched by Notman towards the far side. Easton's cross was a decent one, but Nielsen just couldn't shake off the attentions of Richard Walker. Hooked forward there by Macaulay. And the header backwards may have caught it. Norwich short and Naylor's in. Tony Naylor's third goal of the season. And Cheltenham take the lead. Norwich fans stunned. A very, very soft goal to concede, you have to say. A long ball forward, Malky Mackay trying to head it back, but well read by Tony Naylor, and the experienced striker was able to thread the ball into the far corner of the net. Misunderstanding between Mackay and Green. In goes Tony Naylor. Well turned by Easton. Now Holt to Nielsen, and now Easton again. That's a good ball. Notman's onside. Faced by Victory. Digs out a decent cross. And the header by Roberts is over. Another threatening break and a few more smiles among the Norwich supporters this time. Notman, right-footed cross towards the far post, and there's a great contact there by Ewan Roberts, but not able to direct the header goalwards. Oh, how was the slip? And now a chance here for Norwich. Roberts, Nielsen must finish this. No, good save by Buck. 1 minute of stoppage time to be played at the end of this first half as Cheltenham go forward again. This time it's with Duff, and here's Naylor with a chance. He's done it again. Tony Naylor's made it 2-0 to Cheltenham. And what has gone wrong with Norwich's defence tonight? Paul Heckingbottom. Nice side step away from Tony Naylor there. Now it's with Nottingham. Being closed down by Macaulay, still with Notman. Good save by Book. Mackay. Back to his keeper. Now, was that a back pass? It was a back pass. Well, they're claiming that the ball came off the feet of Tony Naylor, but it was, to me, a back pass. Malky Mackay in a bit of pressure from Naylor, and the ball played back to the keeper. It may well have taken a skip off the defender's, the striker's foot, but the ball was definitely picked up by Green. Now, what's going to happen here? Cheltenham, who have a 2-goal lead already, have an indirect free kick. Driven in, it's 3! And it's Hugh Macaulay. Russell Milton was the one who passed the ball to him, but that is enough as far as the Norwich City fans are concerned. Hugh Macaulay makes it 3-0 for Cheltenham. Nadegaard, deep cross, up goes Llewellyn again. Kenton's in there! Oh, good save by Buck. Oh, it's not going to be Norwich's night, is it?
No, indeed. OK, from one to forget to one to remember. Portman Road.
A save there from Andy Marshall. The former Norwich goalkeeper really on his mettle. A fantastic diving block to deny Darren Kenton. Mulrine's ball in of the highest quality, and a super save there from Andy Marshall. McVeigh's corner. Away by the head of Friderson. Right further away, back in by Gary Holt towards the head of Roberts. Marshall comes, he's lost it. But away from Marshall. Mackay waits in the centre. Can McVeigh find him? Yes, he can! Malky Mackay! Late in the derby, Norwich draw first blood. It's Malky Mackay, so lethal with his head. Is that the goal so late in the game which decides the derby for Norfolk? Norwich ecstatic, Suffolk silent. Malky Mackay. The ball in, Marshall never convincing. Roberts always a handful. McVeigh's cross, inch perfect from Malky Mackay. And Norwich City lead at Portman Road. He was a real talisman last season, Mackay, towards the tail end. Here he scores in the derby. For Norwich fans, the most crucial game of the season. They lead it by 1-0. Malky Mackay. Venus with a header. Holland now for Ambrose. We are deep in stoppage time. Armstrong's cross, Green blocks it away and gathers at the second attempt. Robert Green, safe hands from the Norwich goalkeepers, Ipswich begin to pile on the pressure. Armstrong here got away from Kenton. And Green with a solid pair of hands. Venus. Green comes and gets a fist on the ball. And his father is Matt Holland. Holland now for Kenyago, away from Emblin. Kenyago's cross, hits Drury, handball! Penalty, says the referee, Paul Durkin. Well, Drury shakes his head, but the referee, his mind made up, he saw hands against Drury. The Norwich defender, incredulous, will see here if the call was the right one. Kenyago's delivery, and was the hand deliberate? Referee thought so. Drury did not. Now, a young head prepared to shoulder the responsibility. We are some 4.5, maybe 5 minutes now into stoppage time. And Darren Bent, the teenager, will take it on. He'll take the penalty to try and get Ipswich Town level in the derby, in the dying stages. It's Darren Bent against Robert Green, off the post. Green super save, but Kenyago is there to level. The derby has a tremendous climax. Ipswich Town are level, 5 minutes into stoppage time. It's the Spaniard Pablo Kenyago for George Burley's team. So late, so crucial. The penalty against the post, the rebound saved superbly. But there was Kenyago to wrap up the scores at 1-1. It's heartbreak for Norwich and for Robert Green, but sheer delirium for George Burley and for Pablo Kenyago. His team are level at 1-1.
Ultimately then, disappointment against the old enemy at Portman Road. But next, a dream start at Reading's Majeski Stadium. Just 2 minutes gone when Paul McVeigh popped up in the 6-yard box with his 7th goal in 9 games. McVeigh taking advantage of some good work on the right from Steen Nedergaard. And before 5 minutes had gone, Norwich were 2 up. McVeigh turning provider to fellow Northern Ireland international Phil Mulrine. Sumptuous finish from the City midfielder, who was really on top of his game. No more goals after that, but it got worse for Reading. John Mackey seeing red before the end of the first half after that clumsy challenge from behind on McVeigh. Next, the visits of the First Division's early season pace setters. Paul Merson's Portsmouth. A bumper crowd, more than 21,000, and a cracking match, with commentary from Donovan Blake.
Taylor breaks away for Portsmouth. Kenton comes across and does well, although Nedergaard, in trying to find his teammate, concedes a corner. There's Adam Drury, who seems to be tucking in to join Kenton and Mackay as an extra centre-back. Corner, though, will be taken by Paul Merson. Robinson and a few other players in blue adding some weight for Portsmouth. It's laid back towards Kwasi! Super strike by Nigel Kwasi. And the danger didn't seem to be very apparent as Merson laid it back and Kwasi left-footed, swinging just away from that angle of crossbar and post. Okay, the head, Kenton was up there, headed away by Primus again. Mulrine, closed down by Todorov, still with Mulrine, shooting chance. Through a crowd of bodies and well claimed by his lot. Phil Mulrine, drifting in field from the right side, getting on his left foot. And Shaka Hislop did well. And in 26 visits, Portsmouth have only won here 6 times. But here they come with Merson. Shoot on sight at the moment, isn't it? Paul Merson this time the latest to have a go. Right-footed, 30 yards out. And now a break on for Portsmouth, it's Taylor. Only Drury to take on, still with Taylor. Goes for goal, good save from Green because he didn't know much about it. Fine left-footed strike by Taylor, but it was well saved. Taylor on the break, fine strike from 25 yards out. Merson, Quasi. Only 2 ahead of him. Todorov coming near side. Quasi to Harper. Merson's made the angle run, he's onside. Oh! Great break from Portsmouth. And Paul Merson almost broke the deadlock there. Great shot, great save though by Robert Green, who tracked to the near post to cut out the danger. Space for Drury. And he finds Mulrine eventually. Goes for goal! Good save by Shaka Hislop. McVeigh, Mulrine's cross. Too deep for Mackay. But does well to keep it alive against Deziu. And he's won a throw. The big Dutchman just sticking to the big Scotsman. Now then, Nedergaard. Roberts! An absolute corker. Great cross from Stein Nedergaard and a very, very accurate finish from Ewan Roberts. And that's what it means. Only his 2nd goal of the season, but how vital will that be come the end of the season? Great header. Shaka Hislop at full stretch can't get anywhere near it. 3 minutes of stoppage time to be played. Quasi steps away from Mulrine. He's got Merson to his left. Merson, first time ball. And there's Pericard. He couldn't get a touch. Couldn't get a touch. Slick move from Portsmouth. It's a great first time ball by Merson, and Pericard at full stretch couldn't divert it past Green.
Early days, but looking good.
Marlon Brooms up towards Ricardo Fuller. Kenton beaten by Fuller. It's Ricardo Fuller. Green blocks it away, and the ball scrambled clear in the end by Drury on the goal line, I think it was. Long from Green. Up towards Neil Emblin. Brooms header. Here's Mulrine for Norwich now. Mulrine away by the head of Murdoch. Helped on by McKenna, back in there by Kenton. McVeigh is there. Drury. McVeigh. Mulrine. Good move here from Norwich. It's David Neilson. Away from Murdoch. David Neilson! Norwich lead at Preston North End by David Neilson's goal to nil. Norwich in front of Deepdale. Neilson the scorer. Away day delight for Norwich City. Alexander's throw here for Murdoch. Helped on by scorer for Richard Cresswell. And still Cresswell goes, and Preston are level. Richard Cresswell beats Robert Green to tie the scores at 1-1. Long throw from Heckingbottom towards the head of McVeigh. Emblin's in there. Now here's Paul McVeigh! Oh, fantastic! A bicycle kick from Paul McVeigh, whose superb start to the season continues. It was a wonderfully executed goal from McVeigh. Not sure the goalkeeper's role was as he wanted. Norwich lead by 2-1 then. Here's Eddie Lewis to strike from distance, and Green at full stretch beats the ball away, and Norwich clear their lines.
So another 3-point haul away from home, and a look at the league table shows that everything is going very nicely, thank you, in the first quarter of the season. 24 points from 11 games. City fresh from beating leaders Portsmouth. Next up, it's the second place team, Leicester City at Carrow Road. It would end goalless, but not for a lack of effort, certainly not on the part of David Neilson. Strong run, good shot, but Ian Walker comfortably saving. Into the second half, and Gary Holt going close with a rasping volley from the edge of the box. Frustration for Holt. Not a bad shot at all, but just over the top. 0-0. After a 2-week break, the Canaries welcomed yet another near-capacity crowd along with Mark McGee's Millwall. Before the match, fans showing solidarity with the Kick Racism Out of Football campaign. And all eyes were falling on keeper Robert Green. 8 clean sheets from 13 games, equaling the club record. One more would break it.
Oh, and a strong challenge on Paul McVeigh this time. And another one. Well, Millwall aren't shirking the challenges, that's for sure. And McVeigh has stayed down following that challenge from Livermore. Well, this is a man on a yellow card already making the challenge, and well, he won the ball but got a hefty slice of Paul McVeigh as well. And again Paul McVeigh has gone to ground, and again he's in some pain. Waving towards the bench, I think Paul McVeigh could well be coming off here. And Norwich's top scorer is in some difficulty. So Paul McVeigh will play no further part in this afternoon's game at Carrow Road. And David Nielsen, the Danish striker, just checks his colleague and enters the fray. Fired up as ever. Ewan Roberts down for Easton. Now Nielsen's got great pace, of course, with Darren Ward. He's held off Ward. It's David Nielsen. Great chance here, and Tony Warner smothers it with a really good piece of goalkeeping to deny David Nielsen. Norwich's clearest sight of goal of the afternoon. Nielsen used his pace, his strength as well to shrug off Darren Ward, and he set off for goal, but Tony Warner made himself big and made the save. That's aimed towards Ewan Roberts on the chest for Nicky Southall. Nielsen has beaten the offside. Can he beat the goalkeeper? It's a loose clearance. Arriving now is Gary Holton. Stuart Nethercott has to take control of the situation and get the ball away. Almost egg on face for Tony Warner. Throw in taken quickly. Morine for Nielsen. A handful so far. David Nielsen with a strike, and David Nielsen with the goal. It has been coming from David Nielsen. He is on fire this afternoon. A stunning goal. Norwich in front. David Nielsen on a substitute with the opening goal of the afternoon. He's gone close on a couple of occasions. This time he finds the back of Millwall's net, and Norwich City are in front this afternoon. The ball played through here for Nielsen, got away from the defender and found the bottom corner of Tony Warner's net. Norwich City 1, Millwall 0. It's David Nielsen. Easton. Johnson's done well though on his debut. The play from West Ham. Steve Claridge here, he's onside. The veteran Steve Claridge just gets a toe into the ball and has equalised for Millwall. It seemed he'd taken perhaps a touch too many, Steve Claridge, but he got a toe to the ball. He's beaten Robert Green, and Millwall have levelled at the start of the second half. Steve Claridge. Well, the flag stayed down. Steve Claridge got a toe to the ball, and Robert Green is beaten. Norwich are pegged back to 1-1. And the veteran striker Steve Claridge does what he does so very well. Drury's made the run, and it breaks back here for Ewan Roberts. Not too many yellow shirts to aim for. Easton swings the ball in. Nielsen is up there. Might come here to Nicky Southall. Just across the face of goal from Nicky Southall on his full debut. He claims deflection, he claims corner. But this was a clear sight of goal for Nicky Southall on loan from Bolton Wanderers. Struck it cleanly. Had Tony Warner beaten and wide of the far post. Wide here, Nedergaard whips in the cross against the Millwall body. Robbie Ryan, throw into Norwich. Southall heads down. Nedergaard's cross in towards David Nielsen. Stunning header. Norwich are back in front again. It's David Nielsen. Fantastic header. And Norwich City, who saw their lead cancelled out, have bitten back with the same man. David Nielsen's second of the day. Norwich 2, Millwall 1. Well, the cross here from Nedergaard had lots of pace on it, and David Nielsen diverts it goalwards into the corner, the top corner, and Norwich City have come back to take the lead for a second time. Here's Easton. Looks to turn, and Darren Ward made his intention. Two former Watford teammates, Ward and Easton. In towards Nielsen again, and Tony Warner denies a hat-trick. Nielsen again! Side netting this time, and Tony Warner denies Nielsen what would have been a hat-trick of stunning goals. Well, he scored two beauties, and this one here would have been the third of the bunch, and Tony Warner, reaction save, denies him. An angle ball for Nielsen to chase, and he's got in here, David Nielsen. Looks to hold up the ball and play in more right. Ward's clearance might reach Gary Holt, and Kevin Davis has fouled Gary Holt there, and Norwich City with a free kick midway inside Millwall territory. Well, they're a side who aren't afraid to use the physical, Millwall.
Phil Mulrine will send this ball in for Norwich, in towards the danger zone where Darren Kenton rises, and Darren Kenton scores his first goal of the season. The shirt is off. Norwich lead by 3-1. Delight for the Norwich fans. Surely now the 3 points are safe. And for Darren Kenton, his first goal of the season. Mulrine's delivery was spot on, perfect for Kenton. He rose so well and finds the net. Norwich are home and dry, 3-1 leaders.
The good start to the season continuing. Next, though, a rude awakening at Highfield Road. Richie Partridge with a truly unstoppable 30-yard drive past Robert Green. 1-0 to Coventry. They nearly went 2 up after this defensive misunderstanding. Green relieved to see the shot go wide. As time ticked away, it looked as if City's unbeaten run would come to an end. Cue Paul McVeigh. The game's second classic strike, enough to earn City a point and maintain their unbeaten away form. 14 played, just 1 defeat. Things were beginning to look really good for Norwich. So good, in fact, the Canaries were now into the top 2, just 3 points off leaders Portsmouth. Supporters beginning to wonder if this could, at long last, be the season that saw Norwich City return to the Premiership. A long way to go, though, and next it was back on their travels to Bradford and Dan O'Hagan.
Ball played back towards Andy Myers. Myers' ball delivered towards the far post, and the header came in from Andy Gray, and it's been turned away by Robert Green. Andy Gray's header, Bradford coming close. Atherton's corner, decent one as well. Holt away on his far. There was Paul Reed to strike. Oh, fantastic goal! Paul Reed's first goal for Bradford, the Australian. He really struck that one. The Bantams in front against the Canaries. Holt on towards Southall. Southall stretching and shooting, and it's a save by Steve Banks from the on-loan Nicky Southall. Here's Gus Ulenbeek in towards Danny Cadamartri. And it goes for Reed and Ashley Ward. And Reed again to strike and score again. He'd never scored before today for Bradford. Now he has 2 goals. Paul Reed doubles their money. Here's Heckingbottom for Norwich now. Decent run. Holt back on for Heckingbottom. And get the cross in 2 for Ewan Roberts, and Banks saves it, and it's scrambled away. Here's Ashley Ward and Danny Cadamartri away from Darren Kenton. Here's pulled back towards Ashley Ward, and Green somehow saves it. Gary Holt with Reed. It's scrambled away. Nedergaard goes down on a Cadamartri's challenge. That's a penalty. A lifeline for Norwich City. It'll be Ewan Roberts against Steve Banks. Here he comes. Roberts saved. Rebound surely, and again the goalkeeper denies him. Fantastic double save from Steve Banks. Southall's corner. In for Zima Rabi. On his comeback, he has a comeback goal. 2-1.
The end of City's unbeaten away record, back to Carrow Road, and another big one.
Mackay and Johnson away from Mackay. Leicester arriving here at pace. Jack Leicester rather forced wide by the pass from Johnson. Still Leicester goes though. It's Jack Leicester for Forest, deflected, looping wide. Johnson gets away from Holton, looks to take on Mackay as well. Johnson still goes, good strong run. David Johnson. It's a straightforward save in the end for Robert Green. But a warning there of the power and pace that David Johnson does possess for Forest. That's why he's got 16 goals this season. Plays in Louis Jean. And Shimmiker strikes it, and Green has to use fingertips, and it's gone over just. I think Green tried to hold it. The shot had too much pace though, and it's gone behind for a corner. Shimmiker's shot, and Green. Roberts, again he and Dawson having a real ding-dong there. Roberts has done well here. Finds Paul McVeigh. McVeigh from distance, Paul McVeigh, and it's just wide of goal. 9 goals this season from Paul McVeigh. He fancied double figures there. Well, McVeigh's strike here had the goalkeeper beaten, but so too the post. David Nielsen turns away though for Norwich. Nielsen for Paul McVeigh. Drury in space here. Adam Drury with a shot! Across the face from Adam Drury. Never scored here at Carrow Road. Just 1 goal for the club this season it was, against Stoke City at the Britannia Stadium. And here he was oh so close to his first goal on home soil. McVeigh with a vision. Played in Drury. And across the face of goal and wide. As things stand, they are 6th in Division 1. David Johnson, he's got away, David Johnson, and across comes the defence. David Johnson, angle was tight, and he couldn't find his way to goal. The league's leading scorer, with his clearest sight of goal of the night perhaps here. Away from Fleming, away from Mackay. Nedergaard came back and Green forced him wide, and the shot from a tight angle is behind the goal. Nedergaard's cross, David Nielsen, down for Nicky Southall! A real chance for the on-loan player. Perhaps had more time than he thought, really, Nicky Southall, as the ball came in from Nedergaard. Nielsen's layoff, Southall on the volley, would have been a picture-book goal.
To South London now, the wet and sparsely populated stands of Selhurst Park next for Norwich City. Their opponents, a troubled and controversial Wimbledon. Immersed in problems off the field, the Dons had few fans to cheer them on here. But the distinct lack of support didn't, unfortunately, appear to deter their players.
The rain continues to pour. Williams' ball in, knocked away. Here's Hawkins for Wimbledon. Here's cross in towards Neil Shipley, deflects in! Adam Drury, the unlucky man who got the deflection, and Wimbledon lead. Nedergaard's throw for Norwich. Roberts with a header. Rio Coker's ball back in, helped on towards David Connolly. Angle against him, Connolly! Scores for Wimbledon. The angle was difficult, makes no difference to David Connolly. In a fine run of form. Up towards Shipley, got the nudge, did he, from Fleming. Referee says free kick in a central position. Green aligns the wall. It's David Connolly, his second goal! Green was scampering, was never going to get there, and Connolly has 2, Wimbledon have 3 in the first half. Here's a substitution, the youngster Ian Henderson comes on for Paul McVeigh. Williams with the throw. Connolly twists and turns. Gary Holt looks to release Henderson, who's made the run on the near side here. Henderson, his first senior goal, is it? Yes! The ball just has the legs to make the net, and Ian Henderson has opened his Norwich scoring account, the youngster. It's 3-1 now. Drury, Nielsen. Gary Holt now. Zima Abbey looks to spin away and does. Here's Nedergaard. Abbey does well. Looks to work the ball through. Here's Nedergaard for Norwich now. Nielsen waits and Nielsen scores! Against his former side, David Nielsen reduces the arrears to 1. With 10 minutes to go, Norwich are right back in this one. Here's Rio Coca. And a shirt pull by Mackay, was it? Referee looks across and says penalty. Malky Mackay protests his innocence, but the referee says penalty. Now Conley with a chance of a hat-trick for Wimbledon. Ball not quite on the spot yet. Now he places it. David Connolly comes forward, has the hat-trick, 4-2 to Wimbledon. Norwich heading towards their biggest defeat of the season so far at a rain-swept Selhurst Park.
So a disappointing result in South London, and it was now 1 point from 3 games. So Norwich very much with a job to do on their return to Carrow Road.
Top scorer since the year dot for Norwich. It's something of a lean spell for Ewan Roberts. No goals in his last 6 games and just 2 for the season so far. Craig Armstrong with this corner for Sheffield Wednesday. Helped on. Might come to Lee Bromby, was in there in the 6-yard box. Sibon 2. Armstrong's cross. Shefki Kuki waits, and a good save by Robert Green. Got down really well, the Norwich keeper, from Shefki Kuki's header. Armstrong's cross here, and Kuki waited. Good header and a good save to match as well from Robert Green. Roberts on towards David Nielsen, away by Bromby. Back in by Drury. McVeigh is there. Drury, nice control. Finds Mulrine, and now McVeigh. Shackled by Saltvet, and Saltvet concedes a corner. Well, 9 goals so far this season for Paul McVeigh. He's Norwich's top goal scorer. And Roberts is in there, and it's hooked away. He's given a penalty. The referee saw something we didn't, and Norwich have won a penalty. We'll see here perhaps what it was. Was it handball? If it was, the referee may have a red card to produce. It is a red card. Ian Hendon has been sent off here, just short of the half hour. Well, deliberate handball does carry the red card penalty, and Wednesday, in their first game under Chris Turner, must play 60 minutes with only 10 men. In fact, Shefki Kuki was the man sent off. A case of mistaken identity at first. And now Ewan Roberts with a chance for Norwich. Roberts from the spot, steps up and scores. His 3rd of the season, he is back in business. Ewan Roberts, 6 games without a goal before today. The smile says it all. He is back. Norwich 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Roberts, good control, tees up Paul McVeigh, and Lee Bromby stood tall and stood firm. Still the danger not passed for Sheffield Wednesday. Roberts for Gary Holt, and now Adam Drury, and Phil Mulrine comes into the play. Nielsen waits, Bromby with a good header away for Sheffield Wednesday. Good ball in here from Phil Mulrine, and David Nielsen was waiting to pounce, and good header from Lee Bromby. Corner from Rivers. There's Gary Holt, David Nielsen, and Paul McVeigh off the post and in. McVeigh in double figures for the season. Goal number 10 for him. Goal number 2 of the afternoon for Norwich. Another full house has goals to cheer. Paul McVeigh doubles Norwich's lead. The corner from Rivers. It wasn't dealt with. Gary Holt with a header back into the danger zone. And Paul McVeigh, scissor kick volley. Norwich 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. This now Derek Geary. High ball towards the head of Sibon, as so many are. Owusu for Sibon, chance here, shoots wide. Well, a clear sight of goal for Gerald Sibon, their top scorer with 5 goals this season. Good work from Owusu, and Sibon shoots wide. Inside the final 10 minutes, Norwich 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Here's Nielsen. Mulrine on for Paul McVeigh. Roberts ahead of him. Here is Ewan Roberts. His second, Norwich's third. He really is back in business. And you can see from his reaction what a relief it is to be back among the goals. Fed by McVeigh, Roberts with the finish of old. The captain doing the captain's job. Fed here by the through ball from Paul McVeigh. The shot taken first time. Ewan Roberts makes it Norwich 3, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Goals number 84 and 85 there for the ever-popular Ewan Roberts, moving the Welshman to third in the all-time top Canaries scoring list. And after flooring the Owls, Roberts and co were looking to clip the Eagles' wings next.
That's aimed towards Adibola with Kenton, and Kenton shows good strength. It's now with Gary Holt for Norwich. Well done, Darren Kenton there. Nedergaard. Roberts will chase. Simons heads away. Granville. Loose clearance, and one or two confusions there in the Palace defence. It comes here to Paul McVeigh. Paul McVeigh, real opportunity for Norwich. It's in. His 11th of the season. Paul McVeigh breaks through for Norwich after 8 minutes of action. Well, the Palace defence only themselves to blame there. They were careless and casual. And Paul McVeigh, the man who profits for Norwich City. He simply can't stop scoring right now. Goal number 11 of the season for him. He's Norwich's top scorer, but the defending here was loose and ragged for Palace, and McVeigh went on and put the ball beyond Mikopoulos, and Norwich City have an 8th minute lead here. Well, the defending was very loose from Palace, and McVeigh punishes them. Drury. Roberts waiting towards the far edge of the penalty. Mulrine's cross. Drury heads on. Only as far as Kenton the clearance. Darren Kenton with a strike. Good effort as well from Darren Kenton. Really caught hold of that. And this was really close to 2-0 from Darren Kenton. Doesn't score that many goals. Has one this season to his name. But a really crisp, clean strike this from Darren Kenton. With Mikopoulos well beaten in the Palace goal. Almost a goal to save it from Darren Kenton.
Holt's header, and for Roberts, defenders are caught rather square here. It's Ewan Roberts with the most un-Ewan Roberts-like of finishes. Goal number 86, Norwich 2 goals clear.
All looking well at home, not so away.
Burnley free kick then, which Paul Cook will tee up here. It's Cook for Robbie Blake, takes a touch, Blake strike, and Green punches the ball away. Would have been a wonderful goal from Robbie Blake. Nedergaard's throw for Roberts. And Nedergaard's cross, a decent one for Paul McVeigh. McVeigh tries to bend one, and it's a good save from Marlon Beresford. Rivers back in for McVeigh again. High over the crossbar this time. Mark Rivers twists and turns. David Nielsen back for Mark Rivers. Rivers cross, decent one. Roberts waits here. Roberts, and again Beresford with a save. Not Norwich's day so far. Blake's delivery for McGregor. Mark McGregor for Burnley. The home side make the breakthrough through the defender Mark McGregor. Little away from the challenge of Russell. On for Ian Moore. Wide here is Robbie Blake. And still he goes away from Nedergaard. Blake's cross for Glenn Little. Scuffs it, but scuffs it in. No way back for Norwich now, surely. It's 2-0 for Burnley.
So a few hiccups away from home, but no containing the excitement back at Carrow Road.
Only 13th in Division 1 at start of play, but they've shown much in the opening 6 minutes of the game here. Corner delivered. Up in the air. Free header far post, looping, and it's looping over the crossbar. Well, Chris Riggott got forward there, the defender. Here's McVeigh, and he's rather forced back by that pass, and he's done well to beat the big striker McLeod to the ball. Now here goes Paul McVeigh, Roberts ahead of him. McVeigh goes for goal, curling shot as well, and Lee Grant had to adjust his footing and make the save, the Derby goalkeeper. It seemed to move in mid-air from Paul McVeigh, this shot, and the keeper did well to hang on. Now here's Warren Barton. Eisel McLeod has Mulrine for company. Now Barton again. Burley. Good slick passing this from Derby. Breaks down though. Here's Mark Rivers. He goes by Barton. And away from Rob Lee as well. Rivers has done well here to get away from Riggott too. In goes the cross towards McVeigh, and Derby clear at the expense of a throw, but a good run that by Mark Rivers. Mackay. Down by Rob Lee, forced to draw in. His pass is not the best, but it finds its way to Mulrine nonetheless, and he looks to release Steen Nedergaard. Here is Nedergaard, takes the ball on the chest well. Reverse ball plays in Darren Kenton. And Kenton, can he get the cross in? He can, in towards McVeigh. It's smuggled behind for a corner somehow by Grant. But a good surge there from Darren Kenton, and the goalkeeper did just enough in the end. Kenton's cross here, and McVeigh at the near post, but it's well blocked by Lee Grant, and it's a corner to Norwich. Higginbottom read it. Rob Lee for McLeod. Has Burton and Burley ahead of him. Here is Burton on for Craig Burley. Chance for Derby. It's Craig Burley. It's a good save by Robert Green. Stood up well, made himself big and made the save. Craig Burley denied. As McLeod in close proximity. Malky Mackay. Ian Henderson. Lively. On to Nielsen. Good control. David Nielsen rather stumbled then. Still goes Nielsen though. Good determination from the Danish player. He's done well, David Nielsen, really well. Nielsen's cross charged down. McVeigh is there now. It's Paul McVeigh. It's a corner. But David Nielsen's industry there rewarded with a corner. David Nielsen, who comes on to such great effect as a substitute. Norwich with a corner then. Paul McVeigh to take it. In it goes. Malky Mackay, far post, waits. Looping in! Malky Mackay has scored! Malky Mackay! 10 minutes from time. Norwich City take the lead. The second half pressure, it has been coming. Malky Mackay with the breakthrough. Norwich lead Derby by 1-0. A looping header from Malky Mackay. It drops just under the bar, inches over Barton's head. Norwich lead Derby by 1-0. Malky Mackay with the late show. His third of the season, the big Scotsman.
So the results continuing to come at Carrow Road, but Norwich really needed to start picking up more points away from home. Molineux, never an easy place to go for the Canaries, and so it proved once again. But after surviving some early pressure, Norwich very nearly took the lead. Ewan Roberts, the former Wolves striker, with a header which just failed to find its way through the melee. In the event, the game would be settled by just one goal. It came on 37 minutes, the ball eventually falling to Carlton Cole, on loan from Chelsea, and making no mistake from 10 yards. Into the second half now, and Norwich, sporting their centenary celebration blue and white halves, very much on the back foot. Robert Green with the first of several good saves on the day. First from Kevin Cooper, and then this from Kenny Miller. But the best was yet to come from Robert Green. Coming up next, a breathtaking stop from Carlton Cole's header. Green flying to his left, and Cole the first to offer his congratulations. Nice to see. And it looked as if Norwich might just benefit from Green's acrobatics when Paul McVeigh went close with a dipping 25-yarder. Close, but not quite close enough from the Irishman. 1-0 to Wolves.
We played reasonably well, passed the ball very well, a lot of possession. Didn't create over much, but That means there 1 or 2 little opportunities there you might have been on a good day. But credit to them, they forced the ball over the line and they got all 3 points.
Next, a return to Selhurst Park, scene of the 4-2 defeat against Wimbledon earlier in the season. And this latest away game brought another away defeat. Dele Adebola putting Palace ahead after just 6 minutes. And before half an hour had gone, it was 2-0. Tommy Black at the far post, beating Gary Holt and beating Robert Green. 2-0 Palace. Norwich really failing to gel in the 90 minutes. This Phil Mulrine free kick, one of their better chances. Back to Carrow Road, Christmas rapidly approaching. Top of the Canary fans' wish list, 3 points please. And 3 points is precisely what they got.
Helps on towards McVeigh, no flag, as Roberts with him. Holt arriving too. Here's Gary Holt for Norwich. It's Gary Holt, a good save by Walker, and he smothers the rebound at the second attempt. Well, Gary Holt hasn't scored this season. And here he came mighty close to his first of the season. And Norwich's first of the afternoon. Warsaw's throw, it's towards Junior. There's Leitao, and Junior again. Gets the cross in for Georges Leitao. Green saves, Darren Rack's there. That's a stunning save from Robert Green. He parried the first and somehow blocked the second as well. His reputation continues to grow, Robert Green. That was a special double save from the Norwich goalkeeper. Now Junior for Leitao. Reverse ball plays in, Junior again. He's away from Mackay, it's Junior. And it's still not away, Corrick is there for Warsaw. Has Sonner with him, here's Danny Sonner and Georges Leitao! And Green again at full stretch, tips the ball away. 2 sides of goal for Warsaw in the first half, and Green twice denies them. There is Nigel Worthington, banished to the stands for this game, serving a 1-match ban for events here at the game against Sheffield United in September. And Leitao might profit here, has Kenton with him. Plays in Darren Rack instead. Rack's ball in towards Junior, and it's gone in. It may have been an own goal, but Junior was there with Steve Corricker for Warsaw. Well, the ball came in and Robert Green missed the cross, and the ball was bundled into the net at the far post, and Warsaw lead at Carrow Road. Norwich's sticky form continues. Norwich corner then. Can they reply? In towards Malky Mackay! Norwich a level! Malky Mackay's header. They've responded in the perfect way through Malky Mackay, his 4th goal of the season. Always a handful from set plays, Malky Mackay. And he has restored parity. It's Norwich City 1, Warsaw 1, Malky Mackay. Darren Kenton. Mulrine will chase, has O'Connor with him. Mulrine's ball in, looping off the crossbar. Well, not sure he meant it. Finds Darren Baisley here. And now Ainsworth. Strong challenge on Gary Holt from Gareth Ainsworth. And there may well be cards to be dished out here. It was certainly late, it was certainly full-blooded. And Gareth Ainsworth has been on the field, what, 2 minutes if that. We'll have words here with Richard Beebe. It's a straight red card. Warsaw down to 10 men. Their substitute, Gareth Ainsworth, the on-loan player from Wimbledon, is red carded for a challenge on Gary Holt. Mulrine skips away from Junior and finds Ewan Roberts, looks to turn. Was he held? He was. The captain was pulled back there as he looked to get it on goal. And referee Richard Beebe has given the free kick in the favour of Ewan Roberts. Now this is Phil Mulrine territory. We've seen him score from this range this season, Phil Mulrine. It's Phil Mulrine curling one. Oh, fantastic goal from Phil Mulrine. His position, his range, stunning free kick. Norwich have come from behind to lead.
A happy Christmas? Don't count your turkeys.
Corner for Brighton. Mayo and Barrett are in there at the near post. Otway will send the ball in. Here is Otway's corner. In for Steve Sidwell! And Brighton lead at Carrow Road. The relegation battlers with the breakthrough from the player on loan from Arsenal, Steve Sidwell. Otway's corner caused all manner of problems for Norwich. It was a good delivery, and Sidwell stole in to score. Norwich a goal down and up against it now. Adam Drury in towards the head of Ewan Roberts, as so many balls are. Roberts down for Mark Rivers, 1-1. No flag up, it will not count. Rivers caught offside. Now was he? Roberts headed back on here. Well, level at worst to me. Goal doesn't stand though. Rivers denied. Here's Gary Holt. In towards Henderson! Oh, super save by Kuipers. He got the slightest of fingers on the ball, did the goalkeeper. And Ian Henderson still waits for his first goal at Carrow Road. Good save, Michael Kuipers. More right. From Mark Rivers, might sit up nicely for him. Here, Rivers! Oh, crossbar denies him. Well, Rivers really finding his range today. Mulrine's pass here for Rivers, and the strike beat the goalkeeper but not the crossbar. Rivers so unlucky.
A visit to struggling Grimsby brought hope that Norwich could return to winning ways on their travels. Robert Green was certainly on his game. Superb save there from Green, 0-0 at half-time, and then Green turned provider. Route 1 for Zima Abbey, and his second goal of the season. Big following for this Christmas match, but just as it looked as if Norwich would indeed take all 3 points, up popped John Oster with a cracking equaliser. Oster cutting inside on the edge of the box and giving Green no chance. 1-1. So, approaching the turn of the year, Norwich was still in the thick of the promotion race, or at least the playoff race. City now 11 points off the top two, a lot to make up if automatic promotion was to be achieved. Moreover, the chasing pack weren't far behind. Indeed, those playoff places were still anyone's. But it was cup football first in 2003, or at least that was the plan. In the event, the Canaries' FA Cup third-round tie with Brighton fell foul of the weather in most unusual circumstances. Not so much the seasonal conditions to blame, more a fault with the Carrow Road generator. At first it seemed little more than an irritation, fans waiting patiently, anticipating a delayed kick-off. But try as they might, there was no fixing the problem, and it was ultimately frustration for fans, players and both managers alike as news came through the tie would not be played that day. A week later, problem solved, Nigel Worthington decided to field the side he would have played for the Brighton Cup tie, and that meant the likes of Ewan Roberts and Paul McVeigh on the sidelines, for now at least.
After the great start of the season, Norwich in something of a slump. Bryan for Sedgwick, and Garner, and Mullin with a strike, and Green has to hang on. A stinging shot from John Mullin. And Green's handling here had to be spot on. Free kick here for Rotherham. Malky Mackay, the man penalised, pushing and shoving. Spotted by the referee. And this is what, 25-30 yards from goal. Martin McIntosh may well fancy this. He's the Rotherham dead ball expert. The captain as well. Robert Green aligns his wall.
At which point another attack of the Gremlins, brief power supply problems leaving this shot from behind the river end goal to capture a sweetly struck free kick.
And now Darryl Russell. Rivers looks to take on Hurst. And plays the ball against the shins of Hurst, throw into Norwich. There's not too much movement though in the penalty area for Norwich City. Not too many options are presenting themselves. In goes the throw now towards Henderson, flicks on well, Mackay and Llewellyn looks to twist and turn, and Mulrine is there, and a good save by Mike Pollitt. Secure hands from the Rotherham goalkeeper as Mulrine drove the shot in low through a crowded penalty area. The throw in here was flicked on by Henderson. It came to Llewellyn and then in turn for Mulrine. And a good save this from Mike Pollitt. Good safe hands from the Rotherham keeper. And for Nigel Worthington, urging his players up, making his first change as well, a double one. Norwich's 2 top scorers, 11-goal Paul McVeigh and 6-goal David Nielsen, replacing Chris Llewellyn and young Ian Henderson. So the manager rotates his attacking options, still has Ewan Roberts on the bench as well. That changed things. It's on towards David Nielsen, first touch for him. He'll attack McIntosh. It's David Nielsen across the face of goal, and Abbey wasn't too far away either. Nielsen with the green gloves sent the ball zipping across that 6-yard box after Mark Rivers here released him. And he ran at McIntosh and got the cross shot away, and Abbey was arriving. The ball went across the face and wide in the end from David Nielsen. Barker for Sedgwick. Just cuts inside. It's Chris Sedgwick's shot. It's tame and it's easy for Green to save. And Norwich look to break now through Mark Rivers. Good tempo to the game now. Rivers runs at Hurst. As a defender backtracking. Hurst just holds up Rivers, and now Russell gets the cross in, a high testing one as well towards Zema Abbey and Phil Mulrine. And Paul McVeigh, Norwich's top scorer, twists and turns and gets a shot in! A stunning goal from Paul McVeigh! The substitution pays instant dividends. Norwich are back on level terms. Goal number 12 of the season for Paul McVeigh. It's Norwich 1, Rotherham 1. Well, a double change pays instant rewards. Nielsen and McVeigh on, and Norwich are back on level terms through Paul McVeigh. The cross here from Russell was a testing one. Abbey rose highest of all. Mulrine with the cushion header from McVeigh, and a curling shot here which the goalkeeper got close to saving, but not quite close enough. 1-1. Special goal from Paul McVeigh.
Next, better late than never, the rearranged FA Cup tie against Brighton, with Richard Henwood joining the crowd.
After the original postponement, 17,000 fans could hardly wait for the action to get underway. But there was one more delay to endure, 15 minutes while crowd congestion was cleared. For Norwich fans, all the waiting was worth it, although Brighton took the lead after a rare mistake by goalkeeper Robert Green, punished by Robbie Pethick. Norwich recovered to earn their place in the 4th round. They were level after 57 minutes when Phil Mulrine scored his first of the night. The pick of the Norwich goals came from Paul McVeigh. His return to form emphasised with a well-placed shot and a performance which earned the praise of his manager.
The little man's capable of doing that. The boy will score goals. He's bright, he's aware of the situation, and he's a quick thinker, and he will always score goals.
Norwich completed a 3-1 victory thanks to Mulrine's deflected free kick. So it's non-league Dagenham next.
I feel the lads know what's coming, and it should be good for us, and it should be a good game. We're certainly not taking it lightly and not expecting us to come here and cruise to victory. It will be a tough battle, and they'll be up for it, no doubt.
You can get surprised. It's the FA Cup, and they'll be coming here all guns blazing. Big stadium, big crowd, they'll love it. So we've got to be ready.
We done it!
But it was back to the league next, and a Sunday afternoon kick-off at Vicarage Road. City playing in red for the trip to Watford.
And now Russell, away from Alan Nielsen's challenge. Russell's cross for Mulrine with a header! Off the post from Phil Mulrine. Well, he's not known for his heading, Mulrine, but he came mighty close there. And now David Nielsen could be in. It's David Nielsen! Flag up for offside against Nielsen. It will not count. But a fantastic minute there for Norwich. We'll see here the offside. Was he? Maybe. That coming seconds after Phil Mulrine here hit the post from Darrell Russell's cross. A fantastic whipped-in ball from Russell. Mulrine's header off the post. In goes the throw towards Gale, away by Roberts. Micah Hyde is there. Noel Williams on towards Neil Cox, and Jermaine Pennant on the edge waits. Faced by Mark Rivers, takes the ball wide, gets the cross in now. Might come for Alan Nielsen! Watford's pressure has told in the closing stages of the first half. Alan Nielsen, in a crowded penalty area, finds the bottom corner. Well, the ball in here was from Jermaine Pennant, who took his time, took the ball wide, went around Mark Rivers, pulled the ball back brilliantly, and Nielsen and Mark found the bottom corner of Green's goal. Watford lead in first half stoppage time. Might fall for Ewan Roberts here, goes down under the challenge of Cox. Play continues. Robinson away. Bit of a melee there on the edges. Now here's Mulrine, gets the ball in towards Ewan Roberts, and David Nielsen's there. It's an own goal. Norwich are level. Neil Cox with the unfortunate deflection, and Norwich are back on level terms thanks to an own goal from Watford's captain. Ewan Roberts all smiles. Norwich are level at 1-1. Mulrine's ball in here. Roberts missed it. Neil Cox didn't, and it's an own goal. No chance for Chamberlain. Right in the bottom corner from his own player. And Mackay back towards Robert Green, and Green's rather shinned that one. McNamee lets it run into touch for a throw-in. Not the cleanest kick from Robert Green. And here's Heide Helgeson. Darren Kenton was alert and aware. A solid return to the side for Darren Kenton. McNamee with a corner then for Watford. Lots of yellow shirts are forward. And a free header and a goal for Watford. Heide Helgeson. But where was the marking for Norwich City? There will be an inquest from Nigel Worthington, because Helgeson was given the freedom of the penalty area to get the header in and perhaps secure 3 points for Watford. McNamee's corner, and look at Helgeson, he was in so much space. Helgeson's free header, Watford 2, Norwich 1.
Back at Carrow Road, an opportunity to progress in the FA Cup. Zima Abbey with a late winner against battling non-leaguers Dagenham and Redbridge. Added time, in fact, but City into the 5th round. And back once again to the league. Norwich against Stoke at Carrow Road.
A corner inside the first minute of the game, won by Adam Drury. Malky Mackay arriving in the penalty area. Kenton and Roberts and David Healy in there too. It's Mark Rivers who will send the ball in eventually. Early test for the Stoke defenders. Rivers with the corner in towards Malky Mackay, and the goalkeeper's lost it. Paul McVeigh, and it's gone in from Ewan Roberts. What a start for Norwich City. An almighty melee, a goal inside the first 90 seconds for Norwich City, and Ewan Roberts' goal drought has come to an end within seconds of the kickoff. Well, Norwich haven't scored a first half goal since November the 16th. It's taken 90 seconds against Stoke this afternoon. The shot blocked, and Ewan Roberts poked it home from what, a matter of inches. Mackay's header blocked on the line. Healy's shot driven goalwards. Roberts with a flick. Norwich in front 1-0. Healy's made the run, no flag. David Healy on his debut, tight angle. Healy goes for goal, deflects, and deflects wide from David Healy. Well, a live wire start by the new man. His shot was deflected wide of Steve Banks' goal. He made the run, there was no flag, he was clearly onside. And a crucial block from Sergei Shetanyuk took the ball away from goal. Rivers with the corner then for Norwich. Mackay the target again, McVeigh in there this time, and Stoke scramble the ball away. Those corners are causing problems for Stoke. Llewellyn's crossing towards Mackay, who stayed forward. Bax comes and gets a fist to the ball. O'Connor away for Stoke. Good pressure this from Norwich though. Fleming for Mark Rivers. Rivers for Kenton. Again no flag. Kenton's cross, good one. Mackay's there! Malcolm Mackay! The spell of pressure has told, and told in the form of a goal for Malcolm Mackay. His 5th goal of the season. It gives Norwich a 2-0 lead. Rivers here for Kenton. The cross was picture perfect for Mackay. His header, Norwich 2, Stoke 0. He is so effective in the air, Malcolm Mackay. Their first corner of the game, it comes 36 minutes in. Hoekstra takes it. Shetanyuk is there. And he and Llewellyn wrestle. And Shetanyuk has done well to find Peter Hoekstra. Twists and turns the Dutchman. Hoekstra, 3 saves! And the ball squeezes just beyond the post from Peter Hoekstra's shot. A wry smile from Robert Green. But Hoekstra's trickery and a good shot and a good parry from Green takes the ball just wide of goal. Faced by Hall, gets the cross in, Gary Holt arriving, and David Healy off the crossbar. Well, David Healy on the stroke of half-time with a header against the post, a pat on the back from Ewan Roberts, and so close to a debut goal. And now Peter Hoekstra, the Dutch player for Stoke City, takes on Kent and gets in the cross. Hoekstra for Brynjar Gunnarsson. Stoke back in the game, 2-1. Well, he's been their best player by some distance today, Brynjar Gunnarsson. That's his 4th goal of the season for Stoke City. The cross here from Hoekstra was inviting, and Gunnarsson stole in to score, 2-1. Stoke back in with a shout through Brynjar Gunnarsson. And now Keith Briggs completes a clearance. Only David Healy forward with Peter Handyside. And Handyside heads down here for Marcus Hall. Lee Mills on the chest, always a handful over the years, Lee Mills. Lee Mills goes for goal and scores a splendid equaliser. Stoke's comeback is complete through Lee Mills with a thunderbolt. Well, Robert Green never got close to this. A special goal for Stoke City and for Lee Mills. They are level at 2-2, and how? Lee Mills let fly, found the top corner. Robert Green never even sniffed it. A special equaliser. It's 2-2. The Stoke comeback is complete through Lee Mills.
Game of 2 halves, and in the first half, very, very pleasing. A lot of good passing, a lot of good movement, and scored 2 excellent goals. And then the second half, when we should have really went and turned the screw on Stoke City, try and get an early goal in the second half, which kills the game. We kept giving the ball away, and sooner or later something gives, and that's what happened today.
To concede a 2-goal lead once might be unfortunate, to do it rather, but that's exactly what happened in the very next game. A fine strike from David Healy, putting City ahead at struggling Sheffield Wednesday. Healy, on loan from Preston, and keen to make an impression. Shortly after that, Malky Mackay almost repeated his trick of a week earlier. Kevin Pressman denied Scott from doubling City's lead. But just before half-time, Norwich did go 2-up. A neat crossfield move involving Mulrine, Holt and Healy. His teasing cross picking out Ewan Roberts at the far post. And it was 2-0 Norwich at half-time. But once again, the second half would be a different, and there was a distinct sense of déjà vu as Carl Robinson headed in at the far post to make it 2-1. Sure enough, lightning struck twice, or at least Sheffield Wednesday did. Route 1, Kevin Pressman's long kick. Route 1, Kevin Pressman's long kick. The clearance falling to Alan Quinn. And it was 2-2. More to the point, 4 valuable points dropped in very frustrating circumstances. How costly would that be come the end of the season? Only time would tell, but Norwich had now slipped to 5th. Automatic promotion no longer realistic, and all very tight in the battle for those playoff places. But attention's now turned to the FA Cup and the trip to Southampton's all-new St Mary's Stadium. A family day out for Delia and many City fans alike, all hoping to see the Canaries book a place in the quarter-finals. End-to-end stuff this, Southampton hitting the post, Paul McVeigh going just wide, Nielsen just high, and James Beattie forcing a good save from Robert Green. Then the outcome of the tie was settled in the space of 5 minutes. McVeigh unlucky to see this shot beat Antinimi, but not the post. Moments later, 2 goals in 3 minutes saw the eventual finalists home. Anders Svensson grabbing the first, and then Joe Tessam following up Chris Marsden's parried shot. All rather tough on Norwich, and to rub salt into the wounds, Malky Mackay then saw red for his second bookable offence. City out of the FA Cup. Time to concentrate once again on the league and the trip to Bramall Lane, where Peter Undlove's pace posed an early threat. On the hour, though, Sheffield United were reduced to 10 men, just as they had been in the first game at Carrow Road, remember. Wayne Quinn's scything challenge on David Healy. Quinn already booked. It was time to walk the walk. And Norwich made the advantage pay. Gary Holt's neat cross to Paul McVeigh. The Irishman did the rest. In some style, great control, and a finish to match. McVeigh's 14th goal of the season, surely one of his finest. And to round it all off, Undlove got his marching orders for this last-minute challenge on Steen Nedergaard. 1-0 Norwich, very good away win for the Canaries, long overdue too. It was their first success on their travels since Preston North End back in September.
A well-deserved 3 points. We've had to come to really a fortress this year at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United's had a magnificent season. We stood up to the challenge, we've competed in every department, and the players are worthy of the 3 points.
So City getting back on track with a chance to continue the good work in midweek at Gillingham. A game full of chances this. Gillingham almost getting an early breakthrough when Paul Shaw hit the post. And it was end to end as City immediately counter-attacked. David Healy running clear, but his shot blocked by Gill's keeper Jason Brown. And so into the second half with Norwich continuing to press forward. Neat approach work here. Healy on the edge of the box, picking his spot, curling it towards the far post, but again denied by Brown. It wasn't to be David Healy's night, nor ultimately Norwich City's. With 15 minutes left, a long throw, not properly cleared by the City defence, and it fell to Gillingham player manager Andy Hessenthaler. His cross in turn finding Rod Wallace unmarked, and Wallace making it 1-0 Gillingham. Norwich went looking for the equaliser, and they thought they got it in injury time. Steen Nedergaard's free kick finding Craig Fleming at the far post. Appeared absolutely nothing wrong with the header, but up went the flag and City were left pointless.
Well, disappointed to come away with nothing, because the performance deserved something from the game, and right at the death we got something from the game, but the linesman didn't give it. So one of those unfortunate situations, but the performance, the commitment by the players was top class, and we've got to try and keep that going, and now we look forward to Ipswich on Sunday.
If you're blue or yellow, nothing else matters. This is the day, the game. Outsiders say it's just another 3 points. The fans of either side, this is so much more. In from Ambrose, away by the head of Mark Rivers, back there defending, was it? Shaven-headed, here's David Healy. Out, away comes Rivers. Away from Richards, away from Wilness, crossing chance perhaps. Rivers ball in, good one, McVeigh waiting. And away by Jermaine Wright it was. Thomas Gardzo on the chase here. Darren Bent, who could be in. He's around Bromby. It's Darren Bent. It's a good save by Robert Green. The first real sight of goal of the game falls to Darren Bent of Ipswich, and he's blocked and denied by Robert Green, the Norwich goalkeeper. It'll come all the way back to Craig Fleming. Lots of yellow shirts have stayed in dangerous positions for Ipswich Town. Easton's ball flighted in. Far post Roberts waits, and Wilness can take no chances. And Wilness concedes the corner, with Ewan Roberts waiting behind him. Easton's cross, and Wilness knew Roberts was behind him, had to concede the corner. Lots of bodies in there. Rivers, high corner. Away by Makin, back in by Gary Holt. And it was Lee Bromby's shot in the end on his debut. What a story that would have been. It's David Healy, and Andy Marshall tips it over. Well, David Healy really caught hold of this free kick, and Andy Marshall had to make the save. Norwich's best sight of goal in the game so far, David Healy. Rivers cross, Roberts far post waiting, Ewan Roberts. Wilness away, might come to Healy, or for McVeigh, and Andy Marshall somehow scrambles the ball away. An almighty melee, Healy denied, as was McVeigh, and Andy Marshall makes the save. Easton, back towards Rivers, and Rivers goes down. Referee had a long look, but his hands stayed behind his back. Rivers has stayed down. There was a loud appeal from the Norwich fans as Richards challenged Mark Rivers here. Gardzo came across and caught him as well. It's a debut for 16-year-old Dean Bowditch, who's an England under-16 international. Here's Richards. Miller. First touch now for Bowditch. And Fleming pulled up, Bowditch gets away from him. Miller. And Wilness! Fabian Wilness! He doesn't score many, but he scored today in the biggest game of the season. Ipswich Town take first blood in the derby. It's Fabian Wilness. But the goal is made by 16-year-old Dean Bowditch. Miller's ball in was headed away. Wilness on the penalty spot finds the back of Robert Green's net. Drury for Mulrine. Mulrine in towards Ewan Roberts, has Gardzo with him. Easton gets the ball in. It's Ewan Roberts! It's inches wide of goal. This was a real opening for Norwich City and for Ewan Roberts. Now the break could be on. Bowditch for Darren Bent. Only Green to beat. It's Darren Bent still. This can seal the points. Darren Bent has sealed the points. It's Ipswich leading by 2 goals in stoppage time. The points are theirs. The derby is theirs. Ipswich 2, Norwich City 0. Ipswich broke at pace. Bowditch, goal maker. Darren Bent, goal scorer. 16 for the season for him. Ipswich Town leading by 2 goals to 0. Deep in stoppage time.
So, Derby Day disappointment. More worryingly, Norwich were now 6 points off the playoff places, with a resurgent Ipswich right on their tails. But no time to ponder that setback. It was straight back to action in midweek, with a chance to make up ground on third-placed Reading. And City supporters certainly weren't giving up. No way. Zima Abbey back for his first start in 7 games. Your commentator, Dan O'Hagan.
Here's Steen Nedergaard. Much to aim for. Nedergaard's cross towards Zima Abbey. Got the header in, but couldn't direct it. Back in the side today, Zima Abbey. Mickey Forster's cross deflects out here towards Harper. Off the post. Well, he really struck that one against the frame of the goal, did Harper. And behind off Nedergaard for a corner. Well, the Norwich goal was really rattled here by the strike. Green was beaten, and the ball deflects away to safety in the end. Reading frustrated. And the centre Sidwell waits, and the ball came zipping across the face of goal there from Nicky Forster. Ryan's ball in. It's a second chance here. Ryan's cross. Nedergaard Mackay was better placed though, and Mackay lets Nedergaard know that. Norwich's best chance by an absolute mile, and Hanneman hangs on. Forster's touch. Reading attacking with real purpose here. The cross zipped in and Kenton got the touch. An own goal from Darren Kenton. And Norwich's wretched run of bad luck at Carrow Road continues. They lost the derby on Sunday, and now they're a goal down to Reading. Darren Kenton, own goal. Just stuck out the leg and deflects the ball beyond Green. Reading in front. Alan Pardew happy. Norwich devastated by the own goal. Norwich against the leaders then. A chance to make an impression on the First Division pace setters. Bromby's long throw towards Abbey. Russell's in there, and Zima Abbey connected. Not the worst try in the world from Zima Abbey. Good spell here for Norwich. They have the corner. Bromby is in there, so too Mackay. In it goes towards Lee Bromby, and Shaka Hislop hangs on. The on-loan player's header forced to save. Quasi finds Lundvoy Primus. Away from Nedergaard's challenge Primus. He's done well here, the defender. Has Todorov inside of him here. Lets it run. Todorov now takes over the Bulgarian. In towards Kevin Harper. Kevin Harper across the face of goal. And Portsmouth see their best chance of the game so far come to waste as George Best takes his seat in the stands here at Fratton Park. Long from Hislop then. Up towards Todorov, away by Mackay. Sherwood goes in there, the former Norwich player of course, Primus. Now Todorov for Ayegbeni Yakubu, chance here. Yakubu with a nice cool finish. That's why he scored goals in the Champions League this season. He's finishing ice cool. A hint of offside maybe, but Yakubu's finish really was deadly. Now here's Mark Rivers. Rivers has done well. Clint Easton, collector's item. He doesn't score many, but the delight is there for all to see. Easton ties the scores for Norwich at 1-1. Those who've made the journey are rightfully in raptures. Easton's finish. Norwich 1, Portsmouth 1. Desu for Sherwood. And towards Yakubu. Here's Todorov. Svetoslav Todorov! The ball has the legs to make the back of the net. And Portsmouth are back in front through Svetoslav Todorov. Green tried to block it. The ball just had the pace to cross the line though. Their hard work so far has come to nothing, Norwich. Here goes Mark Rivers for Zima Abbey. Abbey's cross. McVeigh was there and Rivers is there. It's 2-2. Norwich giving a fantastic account of themselves. Level against the leaders. 2-2 now. Abbey's cross pulled back towards McVeigh. It broke for Rivers. Fantastic finish. Merson's corner. Green gets a fist on it. Ball scrambled away, but only as far as Todorov. Todorov second. 3-2 Portsmouth now. Green beaten for a third time. Rivers, his cross, and the header came in and Hislop blocks it away. Fantastic save from Shaka Hislop. Rivers' cross and the header came in from Zima Abbey, was it? Good save, Hislop.
In game at Fratton Park, but with nothing to show for it, Norwich really needed a lift as Gary McAllister's Coventry City came to Carrow Road. Commentary here from Donovan Blake.
Now it's with Nedergaard. Russell. Nedergaard continues his run. Closed down by Davenport. It's a decent cross. Up goes the heads. It's Easton. And it's turned in. No, it's not. David Healy at the far post. Looked as though all he had to do was steer it into an empty net. With the defence stretched, it was a decent cross in the first place. Easton did well to win the header, and at the far post, David Healy and everyone in the river end thought all he had to do was steer it in. Caldwell drives it forward, and Joachim is onside. He's behind the defence here, but back comes Lee Bromby. The Sheffield Wednesday loanee was switched on to close down Julian Joachim, but Joachim found himself in acres of space. Couldn't bring the ball under control quickly enough, and Bromby did his job. Caldwell gets there first. Holdsworth looks as though he was shoved off the ball by Bromby, and in fact he couldn't control it. It's a throw into Norwich, quickly taken by Bromby. And now a chance here for Nedergaard to get to the byline. Does so, and keeps it in, and Zima Abbey is missed. A real opportunity for Norwich City. Nedergaard latching onto that quick throw by Bromby, does well to keep it in play, and Zima Abbey and Mart couldn't find the target. Strength there by Bromby. Easton. Zima Abbey against Davenport, and Abbey's used his strength very well indeed to get the other side of the youngster. Easton with a cross, headed away by Shaw. Back towards Nedergaard, may have a pop, and does so! What a beauty by the Dane. An absolute fantastic goal by the Danish player. Stein Nedergaard has given Norwich City the lead. It's his first for the season, but look how important that goal must mean for Norwich City. He had time and space to size up the situation and then let fly with the right foot. That was an absolute corker. Stein Nedergaard doesn't score many, but that will live long in the memory, I'm sure. This is the moment he will cherish for a long, long time. Well controlled, nothing on, decides, all right, I'll have a go. Beautiful strike. Rivers taking on Caldwell. Cross is blocked. Appeals for handball on the far side. Referee says play on as Nedergaard swings this one in. Healy's header. And once again, the Northern Ireland international rues his luck. Coventry seemed to have stopped when there was appeals for a free kick. It was swung back in by Rivers, and the header from Healy just a foot over the crossbar. Rivers trying to help it into the path of Abbey. Healy, and now Rivers in space here. Can he finish this off? Mark Rivers. Oh! He holds his head. He knows that should have been converted. It was quick thinking by David Healy. He launched the flick on by Abbey straight into the path of Rivers. Only the keeper to beat. And although he narrowed the angle, Rivers really should have found the target. Sheepo. Safri, good control. Peed, it's just overrun him. Gary Holt's in trouble, couldn't control. Safri, Peed, McAllister, shooting chance! Oh, good save by Green. And Robert Green hasn't had much to do in this game, but he had to be right on the button there. Good control by McAllister, instant control, instant shot, super save. Drury, and well, Safri on Sinclair. As play goes on, it's with Darryl Russell. He's got McVeigh square. Paul McVeigh, can he finish it off? Good challenge from Shaw. Still with McVeigh, pulls it in. Who's in the far post? It's Adam Drury. A rare goal for Adam Drury, and surely the points are safe for the Norwich fans and the Norwich players. There's a minute to go. It's Norwich 2, Coventry 0. There was a real old tangle between Safri and Sinclair, but play went on. McVeigh pulled it back into the danger area, and Adam Drury was on the far post to steer it in ahead of Darrow Russell. Good play by McVeigh, and young Adam Drury scores his second of the season to make it Norwich 2, Coventry 0.
So City were still in the hunt. Next, the trip to Millwall, and a great start, courtesy of Malky Mackay. Stopper turned striker. A finish from the top draw from City's centre half. Mackay and his teammates certainly enjoying that one. Better still, Norwich extended their advantage when Lee Bromby's long throw caused mayhem in the Millwall defence, and Zima Abbey pounced to seal the points. 2-0 Norwich. From the new Den, next, it was on to the City Ground, Nottingham. Another traditionally tough venue for visiting clubs, and no exception on this occasion, as Norwich came back to earth with a bump. One of their poorest performances of the season, this. Norwich going behind early on. Darren Huckabee reacting quickest to the loose ball. Marlon Harewood doubling Forest's lead midway through the first half. Things got even worse in the second half. Gareth Williams' volley making it 3-0. And the rout was completed by one Jim Brennan. A superb individual effort this, 8 minutes from time. The one positive aspect to take from the game, Brennan catching the eye, so much so he would go on to become a Norwich City player before too long. But as far as promotion aspirations were concerned, not a pretty picture. Norwich were now down to 8th, 8 points off the playoffs. Worse still, they were leapfrogged by their old friends from across the River Waveney, Ipswich, now in 7th. So it was back to Carrow Road, where a small contingent of travelling Wimbledon fans helped make up a crowd of more than 21,000. Nothing less than 3 points would suffice.
David Healy in space here is Paul McVeigh, lots of space as well. Can he profit? Faced by Norwich faults. Still McVeigh goes for the lob. Spectacular save from Kelvin Davis as Paul McVeigh went for the spectacular. Well, Davis had to go full length here to deny Paul McVeigh. Decent effort, good save. Well, he's got 14 goals this season, Paul McVeigh, and a good save denies him number 50. And Rob Gear here is penalised for fouling Zima Abbey. Mark Rivers will take the free kick quickly for Nedergaard. Cross deflects and it hits the post. On its way through there, he took a deflection. Nedergaard's quick thinking here. Abbey rises, flicks on well. David Healy! David Healy's first goal at Carrow Road for Norwich City. He took it so well. And Norwich City, 6 minutes shy of half-time, take the lead. David Healy for Norwich, his second goal off his loan spell. Abbey's flick here. It went away from Norwich vaults and Healy struck it low and clinically into Kelvin Davis's bottom left-hand corner. Abbey's presence and Healy's finish. Norwich in front, 6 minutes short of half-time. Forward towards Shipley, turns well. Connolly for Nolan, good tackle. Connolly, it's scrambled away. Adam Nolan, surely Green somehow saves it. Still the danger not pass. Mackay hooks it away. Connolly is there again, Shipley too. And Shipley's shot in the end is tame. But Green in there made a wonderful save. His reputation grows and grows.
Certainly does. And so still Norwich supporters were clinging on to the outside hope of another playoff adventure as they prepared for a 5-goal thriller against Bradford at Carrow Road.
David Weatherall, Danny Forrest, down for Reed, onto Jorgensen, claim for handball, play on, says the referee. Forrest now works the ball wide to Ben Muirhead. He'll take on Easton, still Muirhead goes for goal, and Ten Heuvel off the crossbar. Lawrence Ten Heuvel from Ben Muirhead's cross. Ten Heuvel's chance off the frame. Muirhead's cross here had lots of pace on it, and Ten Heuvel just diverts it goalwards, and Green was beaten off the crossbar and away. It stays 0-0. Here's Simon Francis now. Into Paul Reed, on it goes towards Klaus Jorgensen. Away from the challenge of Nedergaard. Jorgensen's cross for Danny Forrest, and Bradford City lead by 1-0. The away side strike the first blow inside the final 5 minutes of the first half, and it's Danny Forrest, the young striker, who has done it. Klaus Jorgensen got the ball in from the byline, and there was Forrest unmarked 6 yards from goal to beat Robert Green with ease. Bradford City lead by 1-0 at Carrow Road in a game Norwich simply have to win. They must come from behind to do so. Danny Forrest for Bradford. Inside the final minute of the first half. Drury for Nielsen. Looks to turn but can't. Goes back to Russell. Darryl Russell! Blocked by the legs. Mark Rivers! Heads wide of goal. Well, Darryl Russell's shot forced and an unorthodox save from the goalkeeper. He saved with his knees. It may have taken a deflection on the way through as well. And then Mark Rivers with a goal at his mercy. Heads wide. Is it to be one of those days? Nielsen headed away. In the face of Gary Holt, the ball breaks here for David Nielsen. Might fall for Zima Abbey. Away by Weatherall stretching. Now Drury, Easton with him. Easton back on for Drury, and Drury goes down. That must be a penalty. The referee keeps his hands behind his back and now points to the spot because his assistant saw it more than he did. Easton back on for Drury. Muirhead's challenge was late and laboured, and Norwich have a penalty thanks to the assistant. It'll be Mark Rivers to take it. Just the 1 goal this season at Portsmouth. Mark Rivers against Aidan Davison. Mark Rivers, Norwich are back on terms. The ideal start to the second half for Norwich City. They are back level. Mark Rivers, with his first goal at Carrow Road this season, has cancelled out the goal from Danny Forrest in the first half. Norwich 1, Bradford City 1. It was a cool and composed penalty. Aidan Davison went the wrong way, and Mark Rivers has registered for the first time at Carrow Road this season. Darren Kenton, driven ball towards Zima Abbey. Away by David Weatherall. Steen Nedergaard, his kind of range. Zima Abbey. Abbey goes for goal! Fantastic strike for Norwich City and for Zima Abbey. His 5th goal of the season. It is a picture book finish from Zima Abbey. From 1 goal down to 2-1 up in the space of 8 second half minutes, Zima Abbey completes the turnaround. It was a picture book finish from Zima Abbey. Right in the top corner of Aidan Davison's goal. One he will savour. Norwich lead by 2-1. It's Zima Abbey. Peter Atherton, Gus Uhlenbeek. The booze for the one-time Ipswich Town player. He's done well. Uhlenbeek's cross towards the far post where Jorgensen waits. And a penalty's given. Lawrence Ten Heuvel, the man who went to ground. Darryl Russell, the offender in the eyes of the referee. And Bradford have won a penalty. In fact, Ben Muirhead, the man impeded. We'll see here why and how. Caught by Russell. Penalty given. It'll be the Danish player, Klaus Jorgensen. Klaus Jorgensen It's 2-2. Bradford are back on terms. It's Klaus Jorgensen, the goal scorer, after Ben Muirhead was fouled by Darryl Russell. The game's second penalty and second successful penalty. Bradford 2, Norwich 2. It's Klaus Jorgensen, the goal scorer. Russell. Gary Holt away from the challenge of Reid, and Reid caught Gary Holt. And I think Reid will be on the end of a yellow card here from the referee. Phil Joslin just calls Reid across, the Australian midfielder. Just a word in the end. Ball might fall here to Rivers, who'd made the run, free kick taken early. Rivers with a shot, deflects! Aidan Davison saves, but the ball has gone in. Well, the free kick was taken quickly, and Aidan Davison couldn't keep out the shot. He got a big, firm hand on it, but Mark Rivers, with his second goal of the game, he hadn't scored at Carrow Road all season until today. He now has 2 in one afternoon. Davison thought he'd made the save. The ball creeps inside the near post. Norwich lead by 3-2 now.
And so on to Pride Park, where Paul McVeigh scored one of the goals of the season as Norwich took an early lead. A real humdinger this from McVeigh, specialising in the very special. But 15 minutes later, Derby were back on terms. Caretaker manager George Burley, with his nephew to thank for the equaliser, Craig Burley, delighted to be back in the side and on the score sheet. And in the second half, well, one of those moments. Darren Kenton's back pass, Robert Green's flailing boot. Say no more.
In the second half, we give the ball away too easy, but I can't fault the players. They were committed, they worked very, very hard. Just some of the quality we need to improve on, and I mean, to win the game with the goal that they won it in, it's one of those bizarre things.
I mean, it was a back pass, and it was a bit quick and came straight at me, and I missed it. Bottom line, no excuses. I mean, it didn't bobble, it didn't, you know, anything. It was just a quick back pass, and I missed it. I mean, I can hold my hand up and say it's a bad mistake, and that's me one for the season.
Well, I'm sure some people might be writing us off, but like, we've scraped in on the last day of last season, so if we can do the same this year, then we'll be delighted. But I think we'll still be going for it and won't give up.
We've had 1.5 minutes of play. Norwich with the first corner of the game. Sent in towards Zima Abbey, blocked to the line by the goalkeeper. Mikopoulos forced into a save from Zima Abbey very early in the game. Corner towards the near post where Abbey made it first time. A bright start by Nigel Worthington's Canaries, and for Zima Abbey in particular. Scored a fabulous goal here in the last home game against Bradford 2 weeks ago. Norwich corner then. In by McVeigh. And Steve Neddegaard, with only his second goal of the season, gives Norwich the lead inside of 2 minutes. It is a flying start. It is Steve Neddegaard. That's just his second goal of the season. His first came 4 weeks ago against Coventry. The simplest of headers, the marking was not the greatest. It's all smiles for Steve Neddegaard, and for Norwich City they lead by 1-0. Here's Papadopoulos, and in-house Dean West. West on for Robbie Blake. Blake's ball in early, away by Neddegaard, only as far as Papadopoulos again. Gareth Taylor! Well, as clear a sight of goal as you will see for Gareth Taylor and for Burnley. What can Rivers conjure up here? In by Rivers towards Zima Abbey. Mackay was in there. Healy. Healy from McVeigh. McVeigh's done really well. David Healy, and Mikopoulos spills it. Zima Abbey 2-0. First shot too hot to handle for Mikopoulos. Punished by Zima Abbey. Second home game in succession,
Zima Abi's name is on the score sheet. It was a poacher's goal after Nikopoulos failed to gather. Good work by McVeigh. Healy strike, too hot to handle. Abi, as cool as you like, 2-0. Abi on the mark, Norwich 2 goals clear.
City still in with a chance as they headed for the Bescot Stadium with an attacking 3-4-3 formation. But it was Walsall's Ian Roper who nearly opened the scoring for Norwich, forcing a good save from his own keeper, James Walker. But perhaps that was a portent of things to come, because no matter how hard Norwich pressed, they just could not find a way through. Steen Nedergaard's shot blocked before Walker saved bravely from Darrell Russell. Walsall, though, also had their chances. Georges Leitao setting off here on a scorching run, but this time no mistake from Robert Green, back to his dependable best. And a late second-half free kick from Phil Mulrine saw Walker equal to whatever Norwich could throw at him. No goals, more frustrating for Norwich than Walsall. And it was just about all or bust as Norwich prepared to take on Wolves at Carrow Road. Manager Nigel Worthington giving a first senior start to promising teenager Ryan Jarvis.
Fleming. Now here's young Jarvis. He'll take on Butler as well. Still Jarvis goes. Good run from the youngster. Still Jarvis. He's stopped in the end by Paul Ince with a strong tackle for Wolverhampton Wanderers. But a bright start by Ryan Jarvis and by Norwich City. Jarvis. Away from one challenge and plays through Roberts. Has he got the pace? Not quite. Matt Murray denies it. But again Jarvis involved heavily. Rivers corner. Kenton's header. Kennedy off the line for Wolves. Murray punches. Back in by Mulrine. Butler this time off the line. Wolves living dangerously. And now Murray has the ball. Not one but two scares for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Butler's the second clearance off the goal line after Kennedy got the first one away. Newton. On for Kenny Miller. And Dar ahead of him. This is George Dar away from Malky Mackay. George Dar, Wolverhampton Wanderers have the lead at Carrow Road. George Dar. He was too hot to handle for Malky Mackay, and his finish was perfection. Owen forward. And come here to Mark Kennedy. Now he can deliver a good ball. Does so! And the header in for 2-0. Dean Sturridge. On as a substitute. Last season's top scorer for Wolves. Doubles their money at Carrow Road. Super cross here from Kennedy. And Sturridge had the simplest of tasks to put the ball beyond the goalkeeper. And there's Kennedy. He'll take on Kenton. Kennedy's strike and Green had to get down to it. Decent save from the Norwich goalkeeper. Clean hit from Mark Kennedy. It was going into the bottom corner as well. Cameron. Back for Kennedy. Now Colin Cameron again. Ince for Kennedy. And for Kenny Miller. Game over for Norwich. It's season over. In a game they simply had to win. Wolves have run them ragged. 3-0, Kenny Miller. It's all about pride for Norwich today against Leicester, who themselves are already promoted. Brian Dean waits in the centre, so too Benjamin. In by Nicky Summerby towards Taggart and turned in by Benjamin. He was on loan at Norwich last season. He scores against them today. The ball came in here and Benjamin at the far post has stolen to score. Here's Drury. Goes back to Mulrine. Mulrine for Gary Holt, and now here's Mark Rivers. And Rivers lets one go! Oh, fantastic goal from Mark Rivers, and Norwich are back on terms at 1-1. A fabulous goal for Norwich from Mark Rivers. What, 25 yards out? No chance for Ian Walker, it's 1-1.
All of which takes us to the final game of the 2002-2003 season. Supporters at Carrow Road roaring their approval for player of the season, Adam Drury. Undoubtedly a massive talent, and rightly thought to be one of the best left-backs out of the Premiership. Drury naturally delighted to lift the Barry Butler Trophy and take well-earned applause. No promotion and no playoffs this time round, but at least the sun was shining as Norwich and Preston North End took to the field for the final time.
There's a full debut for Keith Briggs, signed from Stockport in the new year. Just one substitute appearance for him so far. Edwards header for Preston. Rivers sends the cross in towards Fillmore Ryan. It's just gone wide. Fillmore Ryan arrived in the penalty area at pace here. It was a decent cross from Mark Rivers, and Mulrine flung himself at the ball. May even have been handball, which the goalkeeper was claiming. It's nothing more than a goal kick off Phil Mulrine. In terms of range, it's 30 yards, which may favour Mark Rivers. Hit a strike, and it's only just over from Mark Rivers. He's not the regular free kick taker, is Rivers. And that wasn't too far away at all. The best sight of goal of the game so far. Mulrine for Mark Rivers to strike. Decent hit, just over. The final 45 minutes of the season underway. No score between Norwich and Preston. Here's Phil Mulrine. Early in the second half, looks to find Paul McVeigh and does so. McVeigh towards Ewan Roberts, who's made a run. Mears with a header, a tester of his own goalkeeper. It's an own goal from Tyrone Mears. The most amazing start to the second half. And Tyrone Mears' header just looped up in the air over Jonathan Gould and into the Preston net. It's a bizarre goal, a crazy start to the second half. Norwich lead by 1-0. Tyrone Mears' own goal. Mulrine's delivery and Mears' header in bright sunlight over his own goalkeeper, who thought the ball was going over the crossbar. A bizarre own goal. The second half off to a remarkable start, and Tyrone Mears puts through his own goal. Now Paul McKenna. Creswell given away. Mark Rivers. Rivers will take on Tyrone Mears here. Rivers against Mears. Rivers cross, decent one. Arriving is Phil Mulrine, and he makes it 2-0. A well-crafted goal for Norwich, made by Mark Rivers, executed by Phil Mulrine. Great play here from Rivers. He took on the defender who was the own goal scorer, Tyrone Mears. Teased, tormented, waited, then delivered, and Mulrine from 6 yards with a simple chance, a simple task to make it 2-0 for Norwich City. Phil Mulrine on the score sheet on the final day, as he was twice on the opening day of the season. Norwich 2 goals clear now. 14 minutes of the game to go. Henderson swivels and turns really well away from Alexander. Ian Henderson strike, and Jonathan Gould gets fingertips on the ball and turns it away from Ian Henderson. Well, Henderson's turn away from Alexander was first-rate, and the strike forced a save from Jonathan Gould. A good save as well. It's a Norwich corner. Back to Graham Alexander. That's in towards Pavel Abbott with Briggs. Might fall for Tyrone Mears, and Green denies him. The man who scored the own goal, so close to making amends, but denied by a good save by the Norwich goalkeeper, Robert Green. Abbott's knockdown here came to Mears, and the strike was clean, and the save was an assured one from Robert Green. He's behind for a corner. Adam Drury in for David Nielsen. Nielsen's pace here. Up in the centre, David Nielsen off the post. The season almost ends on a real high as Nielsen hits the post deep in stoppage time at the end of the final game.
So, a smile and a shrug from Delia Smith at full time, perhaps thinking of what might have been. Perhaps too an emotional thought from Steen Nedergaard, the popular defender heading home to Denmark after 3 years at Carrow Road. But otherwise, it was cheers and applause for Nigel Worthington and his squad, with no doubt thoughts and attentions already turning ahead to a new season to come. As for the final table, well, ultimately disappointment for Norwich, finishing 8th, 1 place below Ipswich and 5 points off the playoffs. Good luck to Portsmouth, Leicester and Wolves. Maybe next season will be Norwich City's turn to return to the Premiership.
Well, that's another season's review over. I'd like to thank you all for your support, and we'll do our best again for you this season. And I look forward to seeing you all at Carrow Road again soon.